First off, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those apostles and elders from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, this your brother the Wild Bar from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming right back at you with a little lesson. And I just got through watching this movie called Citizen Vigilante. As you see the guy standing here, he's the actor that plays him, Army Hammer. I've seen him in other movies. I just don't know the movies. But either way, that's neither here nor there. This movie, as you could tell, is about vigilante, about him being a vigilante, him delivering his own type of justice to who he believes who've done injustice to others. And it just shows you, and I'm going to tell you right now, this movie is brutal. It truly shows the violent nature of Esau, man. He is one violent motherfucker, you know, not just toward other people, but towards his own, man. This is one violent motherfucker, boy. And this movie shows it. You know, they twist this sense of justice when they're the ones that caused all the hell on the damn earth. You know, now I'm going to say this. If you haven't seen this movie, I advise you probably not to look at this video. You know, there are going to be a few spoilers. Not many, but some. But the other thing is, it's just telling, you know, hey, the scriptures, man, hey, Esau is a violent motherfucker. And this movie is quite brutal. I'm not going to lie. Now, one part of this movie is the lies that Esau tell when he's talking to his the reporters, and the way he twists words. You're going to find that out with one of the judges. You know, he's going to twist the words of these guys who took a woman. It was 7 of them. They brutally took her, and he twisted the words to make it seem like they were the victims too. See, Esau loves to twist words and do certain things, man, you know, for their own gain, you know. And that's one of the other things too in this movie. Not just the violence, but the twisting of words. Also, we always sit up here and say, man, you got to be careful, man, with Esau, man. The narrative. He loved the narrative. And a good narrative in here, and one of the main narratives in here is immigration. They love to paint immigrants really, really evil, when a lot of the crimes in this country are done by so-called white men. Majority of them. You know, if you look up the statistics, they commit most of the most brutal, the most crimes against women, the most crimes against children at a very high rate of over 50 to 60% in most cases. So, but either way, though, that's neither here nor there. I'm finna grab a scripture real quick, and then, you know, to say a few words. But this is the first scripture I want to sit up here that came to mind. You know, I'm going to sit up here and grab Genesis real quick, you know, because, you know, this blessing, this is this damn devil's blessing. This is Genesis chapter 27. Here it is. I'm just going to jump down. So this is Esau after Isaac gave Jacob the blessing, you know, and Esau was crying. And what did he do? He stood up here and said this. He said, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered him and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. You know, and so but look at what it says in 4. It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. So when you sit up here and think, by thy sword thou shalt live, that means everything you do is going to be by violence. You know, in the sword back then, you talk about swords, spears, knives, bows and arrows, you know, things, weapons. But they use everything as a weapon. So that sword just doesn't necessarily mean a gun. You know, the brother sit up here, the Bishop Matthias said it earlier at camp yesterday. You know, they swore, like they say, the pen is mightier than the sword. Well, right now, the pen is one of the things that they use the most, man, to really destroy and fuck over a lot of people with their laws and their bullshit, you know. But even though they swore it's going to be the main thing that they're going to use in the time to come, but right now they do use their laws to hurt and fuck over people. And that laws right now is just as strong, if not even more worse than sometimes using a weapon. Because at least with a weapon, you're at least, you're wiped out right then and there. When they use their laws and stuff, it's suffering for you. You got to go suffer through all the bullshit that they do. But that's what this damn devil does. But hey, this is Genesis 27, and this just to show you just the violence that this man, hey, this was his blessing. You're going to get the greatest parts of the earth. You're going to sit up here and have the riches and everything, but it's going to be by the sword. Oh, yeah, I want to go to Revelations. Let me go to Revelations real quick. This is Revelations chapter 6 and verse 4. It says, "And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword." It says the red. Who's the red man? Esau, Edom. You know what? Let me go back to Genesis real quick so you can understand. When we say red, it says this is 25. This is Genesis 25. That should have been the first thing I should have actually read. I'm going to start at 22. This is Genesis 25 and 22. It says, "And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, Two nations are in thy womb." So you got to understand, what this is saying. Two nations are in thy womb. So two different groups of people are in thy womb. "And two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels." Two manners. So they're going to have two different personalities. And this up here says, "And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau." So this is describing how he came out of the womb. Esau was red like a hairy garment. Like a hairy garment. Because back then when you dyed garments, you dyed them red. That's just like the red coloring that you might see on your clothing today. He came out red all over. And if you look at pictures of babies, of so-called white people baby, how do they look when they come out? They come out red. When a white person get mad, look at his face. It changes damn near all red when they get truly angry. So this is what it means by, and let me go back to Revelations 6 and 4. And it says, "And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword." So that red horse represents Esau, Edom. And power was given to him. What was his blessing? The sword. When you go to Genesis chapter 27. The power that was given to him, his blessing was the sword, to go out and kill one another. And when you look at this movie, Citizen Vigilante, not Citizen Kane. I'm thinking of the old, I think it was Michael Caine that played in that movie. Citizen Kane, it's an old movie. But that's not the one I'm talking about. Citizen Vigilante. When you look at this movie with Armie Hammer, who's playing Citizen Vigilante, this motherfucker is brutal as hell and killing one another. Hey man, this dude killed everybody in this goddamn movie. Police officers, judges, this motherfucker did not give a damn. And he was brutal. I don't even know how many people he killed. This nigga John Wicked everybody. But either way it goes, it just shows you the brutality of Esau, man. It just shows you how it is, man. It just shows you what they do, man. And this movie really shows it. And this movie, not only does this movie show the brutality of his blessing, but the lies that they do too, in the bullshit that they spew. Let me go to that, because I should have told you what that judge said. This is I'm gonna get Psalms 58 real quick, but I'm also get the other one because that's the one I want to grab too. I'm gonna grab Psalm 58 and 3 real quick. It says, "The wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent; they are like the deaf adder that stop at her ear." They lie a lot, man. These devils broke every treaty that they ever had with any other Native Americans. They break treaties all day long. Look at what Trump did. Trump was sitting up here having a sit down with the people from Iran, and he was breaking. He was going behind their back trying to start wars, man. But here it is, you having to sit down to sit up here and calls for a ceasefire, but then you coming up behind me to destroy me. That just lets you know the evil and wickedness of these motherfucking so-called white people, man. These devils, Esau, Edom, the Edomites of the Bible, man. The red man. They're evil as fucking hell because they swore, they blessing was the sword, man. You can't when you was born to be wicked, there's nothing that you can do, man. There's nothing that you can say. You can't reason with these people. These motherfuckers are the terminators. You can't reason with them. You can't bargain with them. That's just the way they are. They were born to be the wicked. And we keep trying to tell you, so-called black, Latinos, and Native Americans, you can't trust their ass. And a lot of y'all end up fucked up and dead because you want to trust in these damn devils. That Nolan Wells dude, or one of the latest dudes to be killed by one of these goddamn devils, man. Or several of them. Trusting in these damn devils, man. They blessing is the sword. They don't give a fuck about nobody, not even themselves. And this movie proves it, man. This motherfucker was cold-blooded. Didn't care about shit. You know? And like I was sitting up here saying, that judge twisting the words. That's his laws, his rules, his regulations, the laws that he put in. He's sitting up there, he gets on film, on camera in the movie, sitting up here saying, well, these guys are just a victim too that came over here, that migrated over here. You know, they didn't learn our laws and rules and stuff. You know, we got to think about them also. That just lets you know how they twist words, man. You know, how you twist words. You know. Now, I'm not going to sit, these 7 motherfuckers sit up here and jumped on a 14-year-old girl. And I'm going to let you think about what they did. You know. But either way it goes, this is what these damn devils do, man. Lie, twist words, which leads me to go into Psalms 94 real quick. This is Psalms 94 and 20. It says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? And that's one of the things, they frame mischief by law, man. You know, everything they do, man, they sit up here and tell you the small handprint and all the other stuff, man. But also framing mischief by law is when you sit up here and twist the words around to benefit somebody else who you know is a fucking liar, who you know fucked up, who you know done did wrong, but you twist those words around to sit up here and make it seem like, hey, they were a victim too. See, Esau, Edom does that all the time. They'll sit up here and fuck over everybody and then twist it and sit up here and say, well, no, it wasn't us, it was them. You know, it's almost like the 2 brothers, man. The younger one hits the older one, and when the older one hits the younger one back, they don't see what the younger one did. They just see what the older one did. That's Esau, Edom, man. He's a piece of shit and he's a liar. And I'm talking about the so-called white man. You fucking Edomites of the Bible, man. You motherfuckers gonna pay for the shit you done, man. And like I said, the movie shows the brutality. Like I said, I ain't showing a lot of the movie and I ain't trying to tell a lot of the movie. The movie is actually a decent movie to look at. You know, it actually goes right into what it's going into. It doesn't really give a backstory of anything. It just kind of like goes directly into the movie how it is. You know, but either way it goes, it still shows the brutality of this damn devil. You know. But also the other point that I want to sit up here and make is, and that was when and that's one of the main things that Esau Edom does when he does a lot of his movies. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. They pushing that migrant shit real hard in this movie. They pushing that migrant shit real hard with it, whether it be the so-called Africans, whether it be the so-called Arabs. They pushing it real hard, man, the immigrant stuff, you know. So, hey, and like it says, television programming. We was talking about that earlier yesterday at camp, you know, while we was doing our camp. And that television programming, man, see, man, when you get these Edomites looking at this stuff and they talk about how migrants, how evil they are and all this other stuff, they sitting up here showing this stuff, and guess what that does, man? That programs people to have a different thought. They're just like with the so-called blacks. You know, when they sit up here and put us in on TV all the time, showing us on welfare, showing us shooting each other, gang banging and all this other stuff. What that does is program people to believe one thing over another. But they don't put themselves in the damn video. They don't put themselves on TV when they mass murder a whole bunch of stuff. The Epstein Island stuff, you'll hear one little piece of it and then they'll leave. Or if a guy kills his family, what they do? They show him smiling and saying, he was a great man. What could have happened? They always put themselves in a good light when they evil as fuck, man. But they'll show you in every bad light. They'll find a picture of a so-called black man from when he was 6 years old with a deviant smile on his face to look at him. You could tell he was evil right then. That's what they do, man. You can't. You got. That's why it says, "Don't be ignorant of Satan's devices, man." Satan used everything: his news, the food, the air, the water. This motherfucker used everything he possibly can to fuck shit up, to use against a person. You know. You know. So hey, look. Hey, like I said before, the movie is really the movie is a decent movie. If you want to look at it, it's a very decent movie to look at. It shows the violent nature. It shows how they push and how they campaign things too, man. And it shows you how these Edomites thinks, man. These Edomites don't have brains, man. When they see somebody else, when they show something, man, they don't even think for themselves, man. You know, these motherfuckers they go up against each other, they hurt each other, kill each other, destroy each other, you know, and they'll hold on to that racist thought forever, you know. These motherfuckers will fight for one thing in this country, racism. They don't fight for shit else. But they'll fight for that racism, but it's about to come a point in time where they're about to sit up here and the pain is about to come. As a matter of fact, you know what, I'll end it on that. That pain is about to come. Because even in this movie, it shows Esau and Edom, Esau and Esau. This is Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt with idol and the Salakia. Getting a little excited. Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And that's going to be when he comes on them chariots, man, destroying this place with that nuclear fire and that chariot fire. And it says, but here's the point. And I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what you're going to see. And you've seen a lot of that in the Citizen Vigilante movie. Not as far as how they was fighting, not as far as how the prophecies are going to go when all hell break loose and they're gonna be sedition among men. But this just shows you the violent nature of Esau Edom when you read Revelation 6:4. These motherfuckers don't care about each other just as much. You know? They have a violent tendency, man, toward everyone. You know, so with that, I hope this was edifying. I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to those apostles and elders from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that you guys may be sealed sooner. With that, I always say stay prayed up, brothers. Pray for each other because we're almost up out of here. So with that, I'd like to say Kwam Yasharella and the Baba Ball and Anya Habatam Malakiam.